and Sponge could not see the magic of the peach. They simply saw it as something that would bring them great fame and fortune. So they built a huge fence around it and charged people admission just to see it. James, however, was forbidden to go anywhere near the peach. His new job was cleaning up all the rubbish and debris at night after all the people had gone. One night, while collecting bits of rubbish, he found a piece of a bag that the old man had given him. When he picked it up, a magic green thing sprung from it and hopped all over the hill. James chased after it, and without realising where he had gone, he found himself at the base of the huge peach. He sniffed the air. It smelt so wonderful, and he was so very hungry. He simply had to have a bite, so he plunged his hand in and pulled out a handful of dripping, juicy peach. He buried his face in it and devoured the tasty fruit as fast as he could. But all of a sudden, James began to feel woozy. His eyelids became heavy. Something was happening. He noticed the hole he'd made in the peach was getting wider and wider. Soon there was a hole big enough for him to crawl through. So that's exactly what he did. He crawled in. James climbed up the soft, gushy tunnel of the peach, and as he drew nearer and nearer to the stone in the centre, he heard voices. Angry voices. They were arguing. But who were they? He could see shadowy figures on the wall in front of him. He leant forward ever so slightly to get a better look, slipped on the slick peach wall and plummeted into the dark centre. When he looked up, he found himself surrounded by 6 huge insects. "Ah! Don't eat me!" he screamed. The insects all giggled together, though it was easy to see why James was so afraid. They were the oddest and biggest insects he had ever seen. There was a kindly ladybird, a brash and boastful centipede, a blind earthworm, a dotty old glowworm, a mysterious spider, and an old green grasshopper. "There's no need to be frightened, dearie," said the kind and gentle ladybird. But you enormous insects," replied James. "We've all changed," she told him, "and so have you." She magically pulled a large mirror from her tiny purse and held it up for James to see. As he stared into it, his mouth fell open in amazement. He was different. Something truly marvellous had happened, just like the old man said. The centipede lost patience with all their idle chatter.
"Let's get out of here,"
he yelled. "You mean leave the hill?" James replied. It was something he had often dreamt about, but never thought he would have the opportunity to actually do it. As it turned out, each of these peculiar yet friendly insects shared a similar dream. The ladybird wanted somewhere greener. The centipede craved the bright lights of a big city. The grasshopper wanted culture, music and stimulating conversation. Dark hiding places for the spider, tunnels for the earthworm. As they shared their dreams with each other, they began to grow more and more excited. But suddenly they heard Aunt Spiker shrieking outside the peach. "Where are you, you detestable little worm?" she yelled. Everyone hid, fearing the worst, except for the centipede. He climbed through the hatch to the top of the peach. Sponge and Spiker were searching for James when they heard a very peculiar crunching sound coming from the peach. As they moved closer to investigate, they heard a snap, followed by a loud rumble. The centipede had chewed through the stem. The humongous fruit lurched forward and burst through the fence which surrounded it. It was rolling right towards Spiker and Sponge. They screamed in horror as they fled to their car for safety. The centipede dropped back into the stone, and as the peach began to pick up speed, James and his new insect friends bounced, tumbled and rolled like laundry in a dryer. The peach gained momentum. It knocked over Spiker's and Sponge's car, squashing it like a pancake. But it didn't stop there. It kept on rolling, corkscrewing down the hill, through the village below. It bounced over a church and plunged through the meadows, picking up a fence that wrapped around it. Faster and faster it rolled until finally it launched off a cliff and seemed to hover in mid-air. Spiker and Sponge burst their heads through the roof of their smashed car just in time to see the peach falling from the sky and disappearing beneath the huge cliff. "Ah, Peach!" they screamed as a deafening kaploosh echoed through the hills. The giant peach was gone.